And we should be, let me just make sure it is officially showing on Facebook, which it should be. And I think it is, but I just want to be sure.
Mine says live.
Yeah, perfect. We're live. All right, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining another episode of Adapt, Attack, and Advance, episode number 8. I am thrilled to have 3 special guests today. And I'm going to introduce those special guests, and then I'm going to have them share a little bit about who they are and what their business is. Lisa Dobstaff, Liz Long, and Jessica Middleswarth, owners and partners of KinderStop Flexible Child Care. Welcome so much, and thanks for joining the show.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Well, could you share with the folks watching and or listening who you are, a little bit about all 3 of you, as well as what your business is and how long you've been in business?
I'll start. I'm Liz Long, and we are a flexible drop-in. So you don't have to make a reservation. You can drop your child off at any time, and we are open most hours, late on weekends. And yeah, we have great staff who love kids and who are there to keep kids safe, but also to engage them in fun and play. And all 3 owners have children, and we are passionate about kids being safe, but kids having fun. And, you know, parents need, whether it's groceries or to just a few hours to themselves. That's what we're there for.
Oh, great, great. Well, Lisa, Jess, you want to talk a little bit about kind of who you are as well, and then we'll dive right into it.
Jess, you go ahead. I'll wait.
Okay. You go ahead. You're up on the screen.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Lisa Dobstaff, and I have 3 boys, and childcare has pretty much been the only thing I've ever known, really. So to have the opportunity to go into business with 2 good friends, and, you know, it's been a lot of fun and a lot of learning, but it's been awesome.
Great, great. And Jess?
Hi, my name's Jessica. I've got 3 kids also. There's a lot of kids between the 3 of us, so you know that we are very, very passionate about childcare. And actually, my youngest is a type 1 diabetic, and he's autistic, so he does have special needs. And so one thing that's very important to us is to try to be inclusive as possible and to just do our best to learn different strategies that help with all children, especially children with special needs.
Well, perfect. Well, thank you so much for being on. Liz, I'm gonna go to you, and I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions about the first phase. So this is gonna be a 3-part kind of episode, or 3 parts to this episode: adapting, attacking, and then advancing. So, Liz, when did you start to make adjustments based upon kind of COVID-19 coming out, and then the news about it, and then especially being in the child care or drop-in daycare space?
Well, I would say, let's see, it was March. What was the date? The 26th, ladies? No, that was too late. It was March 14th.
Or something like that, yes.
Yeah. So that's when we really changed our whole thinking. We dropped the drop-in aspect. We reduced the number of children allowed in our facility, and it was reservation only. It became more of a camp situation. We were crazy about cleaning already, but then it just became a constant. The girls were basically carrying around our cleaners in hand and just wiping things down constantly. So we wrestled with whether or not we should close or whether we should stay open. But at the end of the day, we wanted to be able to serve the people in our community who desperately need childcare. So we stayed open for as long as we possibly could. We did leave it up to the staff to work so long as they felt comfortable. And then, yeah, so that was the biggest thing, was just making sure we reduced numbers. We stopped going to any inside excursions because we did have our spring break camps. So we would go to parks, not play on the playgrounds, but we'd bring sport equipment, that type of thing. And the kids loved it, and it worked well. Unfortunately, we did end up deciding to close, and that was hard, but it was just trying to figure out what is the best option for the staff, for the community. We don't want to spread this, so what does this look like? And we also wanted our staff to be able to file for unemployment. So there was just a whole lot of different aspects, and it was almost daily we were having to chit chat and be like, what do we do? Because this is just such uncharted territory. It's been very
absolutely. Yeah, this is uncharted is the best word to describe this, because this is something none of us have experienced in our lifetime.
Yeah, crazy times.
Yeah. Well, you've touched on it a little bit, but if you'd like to expand upon it a little bit more, how have you had to pivot now that face-to-face interaction is limited? Are you still in communication with the parents, with the children that you served?
We aren't beyond Facebook. We're Facebook friends with some of our clients, and it's sweet to hear from them, and they're saying their kids have been asking every day to go play. And my own kids have been asking every day, like, I want to go play with my friends at KinderStop. So that's hard because we miss all the kids. We miss seeing their parents too, but hopefully it won't be long and we'll be back open for business. But yeah, so otherwise no face-to-face.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I completely understand that. Is there anything you'd like to add that you've been doing to adapt and pivot based upon the situation?
Just looking to the future and, how to go forward after this.
Okay. Well, perfect. Well, that's great information. And, those are tough decisions. I don't think people really understand how tough some of those decisions have to be and how tough they are when you have to make them, because you're not only looking at your livelihood, you're looking at your team members as well. So absolutely.
Yeah. And I'll speak to that. One of the decisions we had to wrestle with was, our after school program. What happens to our after schoolers whose parents are paying monthly invoices, or if they've prepaid. And we did make the decision collectively to refund all of our after school parents and stop invoicing if they were on a monthly draft. Even though that was very difficult financially for us, as we have, like Liz mentioned, we're closed, so we have no revenue coming in at this point, but we felt that our after-school parents may be in the same situation. And, we want them to be able to come back to us for summer camp or for drop-in. And we don't want, them to have to pay for a service they're not necessarily getting. And that was our choice. I know others make different choices. And the most important thing here is that every business has to make a choice that's best for them. And that's just something that we all felt strongly about, was to not charge our after-school parents. Or same thing with camps. If people had prepaid for camps over spring break, we did credit those parents back.
Yeah.
That's I commend you for doing that. That is a tough decision to have to make. Well, let's dive into the attack portion. I view this as sort of a mindset, and then attacking a problem. How do you attack it head on? So Jess, do you want to take this one?
Yes. So we kind of now found ourselves in a position where we knew that we'd be closed for at least a month, and what could we do to better our business? So we have been, reviewing our budget, making sure that we've been spending money wisely, and areas of opportunity to better our programs and our training. And one thing that we have a really great CFO and IT director, Steve Long, and he has been reviewing multiple software systems to see if there's something that we can utilize that's less expensive, or if it's the same cost, can it streamline both our transactions online and in-house, like at the front desk. We want to make it a much simpler process for parents to register, check in, check out, pay online for camps and after school care, gift cards, things like that. We wanted to try to find a software system that just does a little bit more. And he's been working really hard looking for that. And in the meantime, us in the facility, we've just been trying to do some projects that are hard to get done, like painting and, steam cleaning, things like that you really need to be closed for. And like Liz mentioned earlier, we are open 6 days a week and only being closed on Sundays. And we are open extended hours most of those days. So it's hard to get in the facility and get those projects done. So we're just trying to make the most of this time that we're closed to really better our business.
That's great. Yeah. Those are the only really things you can do, right? Is just make lemonade out of lemons, right?
Exactly.
So as far as this is something that I want to ask really all three of you about this. So how are all of you preparing your mindset during these times to not get sort of sucked into the 24-hour cycle of just constant news? Whether it be books, programs, exercise, how are you staying focused in on this too shall pass?
Exercise is definitely key. I think getting outside and enjoying the fresh air, and at least we have good weather where we live. We're very fortunate that we live in this beautiful community and we're able to get outside and go for walks and go for bike rides with the kids. And that's definitely been my sanity saver. And just trying not to focus on the negative, but more on looking at the positive aspects of this time at home where we are kind of forced to do nothing but spend quality time with each other, and it's been a kind of a blessing in that way. So for us.
Great. Anything else anyone want to add?
Well, I had a wise friend named Lannon Braddock that told me, I'm a checklist person, as is she, and I constantly write down every day things that I want to accomplish today, and then I check them off. And she showed me how to put it on your wallpaper on your phone, so it pops up, like every time you look at your phone, your checklist pops up. So I thought that was a very great idea that I'm implementing, so that I can stay on task, and I try to do something for business, something like self-care, something with my spouse, and something with the kids and the family every day right now while I have the opportunity to do all those things.
That's great. And Liz, anything that you want to?
I'm not productive right now. I'll be honest. I would have thought going into this, hey, a pandemic, nothing to do. I'm going to read those business books. I'm going to do all these things, these projects that I have, and I'm not. But what I will say is my kids at 3 and 5, I've been enjoying that, and they don't know what's going on. So that's a blessing, because I don't function under stress like this kind of stuff. So I would say productivity, it's not where I thought I would be, but I'm giving myself grace and saying, that's all right. I'm going to look for the good and enjoy it.
But you know what? I think that is time well spent. It's the time to get closer with family.
Absolutely.
Get your mind off of what's happening. We're not going to get these 30 days back ever again. So being able to spend that quality time with your family members, it's a huge thing. So absolutely, everyone is dealing with this in their own way, and there are so many different positive ways that you can deal with it. So it doesn't have, there's not a set formula for this.
Right.
We're all trying to figure this thing out, right? Well, anything that you would like to add before we dive into sort of the advancing forward, pushing ahead to accelerate the growth or the progress of as we move forward? Okay, well then, Lisa, it's all you.
Oh, good.
So Lisa, you had mentioned that you wanted to handle this part, which I think is great. You've all been great thus far. So advance. So by definition is to accelerate the growth or progress of, to bring forward in time, and to bring, to move things forward to progress and increase. So what are you doing as a team and as partners and owners to advance forward after we get beyond this?
Well, to be honest, we are really looking forward to having our kids back in our space and getting to see their faces again. So like Jess had mentioned, we're kind of doing the little projects around KinderStop while we have the opportunity. And we're really gearing up for summer camp. And we're looking at our pricing structures and those kinds of things to see how we can help our community and see if there's ways that we can structure it a little bit differently. And those are pretty much the big things that we're focused on right now. So, but we mostly just can't wait to see all the kids come back in again and get all excited. And so
I'm sure they'll be happy to see your smiling faces as well. So.
Oh yeah, it'll be fun. We
well,
miss them.
Well, as we navigate through these times, are there things, I think you talked about just doing extensive kind of deep cleans and stuff like that, but are there, and the technology, I think Jess, you talked about more streamlined processes on the P&L, on the balance sheet side of things. Are there things, Lisa, that you're doing now that you plan to continue to implement after we get through this and we get back to whatever the new normal looks like?
Well, we always have our standard of cleaning, and that is pretty, our standards are pretty high as it is, on the daily. When kids come in, they take off their shoes and they wash their hands and that sort of stuff. So that will continue. And we're just we have to kind of see where we end up. We have to look at this all over again and revisit, everything all over. So
sure, yeah, that makes sense. Well, the last thing, because I want to value your time. Last thing that I want to ask, so what can people that are watching and or listening that may be aware or not aware of your business, but hopefully they'll be aware of it now, what can they do to support your business during these uncertain and uncharted times? Are you offering anything like prepaid hours, gift cards, things of that nature?
Absolutely. You can order, or you can purchase prepaid hours online, or you can order gift cards, and we can send them by mail now. Before we know it, Mother's Day is going to be here, and I'm sure that all the moms that have been staying home will need a break. So that's something that would be a really big help for us now, and hopefully will be a help to the parents when we reopen our doors soon.
Perfect. Well, that's great. Well, I'm going to tag your business up. Feel free to jump in the comments on Facebook, and if anyone has any questions or you just want to create some links to those prepaid hours and those gift cards, please feel free to put those in the link. And anything to add before we go from anyone?
Just appreciate it. Thanks for this, Michael.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you actually in person.
Hopefully sooner than later.
All right. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.